If you let people's perception of you dictate your behavior, you will never grow as a person. But if you leave yourself open to experience, despite what others think, then you will learn and grow. Believe in yourselves. Dream. Try. Do good.
Kick it.
Welcome, all you Feeny followers, to Splat Attack, a 90s podcast overflowing into our slime-filled past. I'm your best friend from Philly, Brett.
And I'm your John Adams High alumni, Alex. And Brett, what are we doing back in school? Do I smell some? I mean, we're not quite Nickelodeon territory. It almost smells like it's ABC or something like that.
Yeah, I think we're in officially TGIF territory, which is a programming block from ABC was very, very popular in the 90s.
Here's a word you don't hear every day. Jocularity.
Jocularity? Is that a PE term?
Next, Al starts hanging out with the bad girls at school.
Check you later, dudes. Look at it this way, Frank. You're not losing a daughter, you're gaining a soldier of fortune.
After seeing that clip, I'm feeling a little jocular.
And somehow you and I, Alex, missed that boat growing up, but our guest today is well versed in it, so we're going to get to her in just a moment. I do have to say, while this doesn't exactly fall on an anniversary of our show per se, although it did premiere 30 years ago, we do have a lot of fun nostalgic content to cover for this. So I'm excited to do a retrospective on a non-Nickelodeon topic for a change.
Yes, and we really wanted to get some of the guests from the show onto this episode, but unfortunately that wasn't able to happen. Every contact I had fallen through, and not to mention...
We tried a lot of them.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that, which we'll get to later, their own podcast that they've got going, so a lot of them are going there, so that's understandable. But either way, even though we don't have any special celebrity guests, we have our own Splat Attack celebrity guest joining us. So everyone, you have seen more of Megan through Meg Reacts this season, so thank you for joining us for this episode.
Thank you for having me.
What, she doesn't get a special introduction like our previous guests?
Well,
her Zoom screen through the schoolroom.
Split our screen in half.
Kind of like that.
But Megan had, I grew up with TGIF as well, but I didn't watch as much of it. I think the only show I really watched regularly was Full House.
And I did too.
But I had seen a few episodes of Sabrina the Teenage Witch because I was a big Clarissa Explains It All fan. But Step by Step, I didn't watch any of Family Matters. I didn't really watch that much.
I watched a little of that.
Occasionally I would watch it if there was something that I saw that was really cool on the commercials, like a Halloween episode or something like that. But Boy Meets World, I didn't see a single episode. But Megan, since we've got you for our guest, what is your experience with Boy Meets World?
It was the go-to show on Friday nights. Like it was very widely popular. It was just an all-around fun show. It was funny. It was heartwarming too, but it really dealt with a lot of issues that I know teenagers deal with. Even in today's society, they still deal with it today. And it was very relatable. And I liked that it was more real. It didn't feel kind of like some of the sitcoms like Full House and stuff. It's like, they don't resolve everything like that, but in a perfect episode. But in this show, the parents get angry and they scream at the kids, or they and it's just more realistic. And I think that's what really was able to reach out to a lot of their audience that way. So very relatable.
Yeah, I really like how they depict like middle class America in the 90s.
Yes.
I think it's very relatable from that standpoint, whether you're like on Corey's side or Sean's side, because they have two different perspectives and upbringings that we see often come together in certain episodes. And you really feel for Sean in some cases because of some of the hardships he has to endure just to like get by in school and, you know, still be there for his best friend, Corey. So I appreciate seeing like what life is like growing up in this area of the world, from all these different backgrounds and perspectives based on the characters that we get to know throughout the series.
Yeah.
And I really like Megan's point to Full House was, I mean, it was full sitcom. They would have a problem and then it would be resolved all happy-go-lucky by the end of the episode, almost every episode, with an occasional 2, maybe 3-parter. But this series, for the first few seasons, was very much in that same vein, but also they were kids when they had started. By the time they hit season 4, they were really starting to tackle issues that would take place over the course of the season. They would still have their main storyline for that episode, but something that had taken place previously would have ripple effects throughout the whole thing. And I, like Megan had said, I really liked that because it felt more authentic to what kids and teenagers were feeling at the time, as opposed to just being a one-off and done. So that was it was really good. The wedding episode in particular, do you remember when they had the invitation at the end of the episode? Were you watching Religious Point?
Okay, we're finally doing it.
We're getting married.
And we want you to be there, this time next Friday night.
You're gonna look so cute in a tuxedo.
Yeah, it's powder blue.
No, it's not.
Well, all our friends are gonna be there too, including you.
It wouldn't be the same without you.
So please RSVP to our website.
One word. .com.
See, Corey and Topanga, one word, is sort of like a symbol of our unity.
No, it's a computer thing.
Unity. CoreyandTopanga.com.
See you at our wedding.
Were you and your friends talking about that in school at the time?
Let's see.
Because the only friend I know that you had at the time who also loved Boy Meets World was Melissa. Did you have a lot of friends that still watched and talked about it at school?
Oh yeah, and you know, it's funny because the show ended in 2000, right at the peak of the 2000s, and I was actually still in 6th grade in the year 2000. So even when I hit high school and they were re-airing it on, it was Fox Family at the time and then became ABC Family, my friends and I would just like talk about episodes. Even though the show had already been over, we talked continuously about it all through high school and talked about moments in it. But yeah, the wedding between Corey and Topanga was huge. I mean, it was as big as even Jesse and Rebecca's wedding in Full House. So it was like this was it, because they were one of the huge, most widely known TV couples at the time. So this was a huge moment.
Yeah, especially since the majority of the show, if not all of it, follows the relationship of Corey and Topanga together, even from like elementary school days until Girl Meets World, as we're going to talk about later. It's not something you ever see in other types of sitcoms, but I think that's what really is the heart of the fan base that keeps them coming back for more, no matter what they try to do with this series, is just seeing how that relationship will take different twists and turns, or fall apart or come back together, or how Corey and Topanga's worlds are shaped by their experiences as they go through the show together.
Yeah.
Now, Megan obviously had grown up with the show and got to see its reruns, and then again back when it went to Disney Channel for a time. And I know Monica is not here for this episode. She did say in our Romantic Moments episode that she had picked Boy Meets World as one of hers, so obviously she is a fan as well. And she couldn't be with us this episode. You are missed, Monica. But Brett, just from what you know of Monica, was her experience with Boy Meets World very similar to Megan's? And is there any major difference that you know of?
I mean, just from what I remember, she grew up watching it a lot and tuning in on Fridays to watch it. I don't know if she talked about it much with her friends at school or not. I'd have to pick her brain a little bit deeper. But she was really into the show. She really loved the relationship of Corey and Topanga develop further, and just seeing Corey and Sean's friendship, survive a lot of hardships and interesting plot twists. Made it really charming to her.
Mm-hmm. And I remember that my experience with it was not that I watched it as a kid. I didn't get into the show until we were married, because she was really into the show, and I was wanting to. She didn't have much of a DVD collection, whereas I had a huge DVD collection.
And you couldn't find it on DVD.
No,
yet.
at the time
it was not.
At the time, it wasn't on DVD at all, and they had stopped airing it on TV. And she was wanting to show it to me, and we couldn't watch it anywhere. So I did manage to find a completely legitimate copy of the entire series, which I am not going to disclose where I found it, but I found it. And I got a copy for her. I got a copy for her friend. And then we watched the entire series. And shortly after I got that, they started releasing them all officially on DVD. So I got rid of the completely legitimate copy and started getting all the originals, or all the ones from
premium copy.
yes, choice copies. So and I've always been a very big advocate of, if you're fans of different shows, especially Nickelodeon, and they put it out on DVD, go get them. The more we support this, the more they'll do it. But if they don't have it available out there for the masses, I will do what I have to get a copy of it. And that's what I did with Boy Meets World. And then they put them out, and I stuck by my word, and I went and got all of them. But during that time period, she started introducing me to the series. And I really dug it. I got into it a lot, even though I was an adult. I'm still a giant kid at heart, because here we are, still talking about Nickelodeon and Boy Meets World and all these other shows in our 30s, but we're still a big kid, and I really thought the show was really fun. I especially, because now I was watching it in 20-year-old eyes, and I was wanting to have my own family, so I really was relating more to the dad in the series for the first couple of seasons. But then once Eric started to take a turn,
we'll get to that,
because he started relatively serious, and then he just got goofier as the series went along. And then once he started making that turn, that's when I went from pro dad to pro Eric, because that's my kind of humor. And then I just stuck with him for the remainder of the season, or the remainder of the series. But
I like to think he got Patrick Star syndrome, because that happened to him too on SpongeBob, and he was my favorite character for the longest time until he got a little too dumb.
But I really enjoyed the series, and especially the later season, the last season, when they had got married and were starting to face life outside of college and what to do, how to live, because that's where we were. We had just gotten married, we had our own apartment, and we were there was a lot of how are we going to live? And there were quite a few moments that were really somber, but really helpful also at the same time. But I really enjoyed the series, and I'm glad I watched it. We've been trying to get Sam into it. He's not quite got into it yet, but he does occasionally. We'll go back and watch some of it, especially after we watched Mission Impossible, and then I showed him the YouTube video of the various Feeny calls.
Oh yes.
I have this made for you.
Bone chilling, Mr. Matthews.
Hey, Feeny, look, it's Eric doing Mission Impossible.
And Sam cackled because we just got done watching the movie. But it's a great series, and I was really excited to talk about this on Splat Attack when we had an opportunity. I really wanted to have some guests from the show, but who knows? We might have a guest sometime in the future and do a conversation with episode if we can ever make that work out. But Brett, your experience with Boy Meets World is what?
Well, I'm probably the most unseasoned character of the four of us after having gone around the table, but that doesn't count me out for being ignorant when it comes to the show, because I specifically watched the entire series and Girl Meets World for this episode. Like, I had not seen it before this, and I knew I was going to do it because I love a good challenge, and this was a lot for me. But yeah, I didn't really think much about Boy Meets World because it wasn't on Nickelodeon. I'm sure if I saw it more, it would have been on my radar, but unfortunately, no. Like, the only extent of TGIF I watched growing up was a little bit of Family Matters, because my uncle was into Urkel at the time, and dinosaurs, which I loved for the fact that it pretty much just feels like a dino puppet version of Roseanne. At least that's how I perceive it.
Yeah, it's fair assessment.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really know much about like this other than like seeing the Ben Savage issue of Nickelodeon magazine. Like, who's this kid? Why is he popular? Like, where did he come from? And of course, I dug a little bit deeper with these shows as we watched them recently. And, you know, I thought it was kind of goofy to start out with, especially with the first season, because it's painfully early 90s with the happy-go-lucky feel that it kind of emanates. But as it goes on and gets a little more serious and tackles more mature subjects, I've grown to like it a lot. I like when I'm proven wrong, and I like when there are shows that really try their best to captivate you in all ways it can, especially for like a kid audience. And I don't know how many of the episodes I want to say that I enjoyed, but I definitely find myself resonating most with Eric Matthews, maybe a little bit here and there with Sean, a little bit here and there with Corey, and then the dad, because, you know, he's the father and trying to keep the family together. So I don't know what I can really say about it. I just enjoyed the experience a lot, and I find it a very rewatchable, kind of timeless artifact of the 90s that's still celebrated today.
All right. Fair enough. And I'm really excited the fact that we finally got Brett to watch the series, because when I had mentioned this on Instagram at one point, Brett had told me I hadn't really seen the episode or seen the show, and I was going, what? See, now I was acting the way she was when she told me about Boy Meets World. It's like, I hadn't really watched it. What? But Manny, also, who's part of Splat Attack, he grew up watching it as well. At least I believe that he said that he had. So I know we've got another fan within the Splat Attack staff. I don't know if Jordy had grown up with it or not. I don't think so, but Jordy can always correct me later if when he has an opportunity.
We can find him.
All right, so for this next part of the episode, we are going to go into the history of Boy Meets World, and then Brett is going to find some Nickelodeon ties for us, because there's quite a few. But Megan just was holding the cat, so now she's having to flick all the cat hair off. But the inception of the show is that it was co-created by Michael Jacobs and April Kelly, two names that I can absolutely pronounce. It was directed by David Kendall, and the series premiered on September 24th, 1993, and ran for 7 seasons with 158 episodes until May 5th, as Megan said, 2000. A season of the show averages about 22 episodes, with the longest one being 24 episodes in season 5. The Walt Disney Company commissioned the series for, as we had mentioned earlier, TGIF, centered around a 12 to 14-year-old audience. Michael Jacobs chose to cast Ben Savage as the leading role after finishing his work on the popular ABC show Dinosaurs.
Connection there.
He wanted the sitcom to focus on middle child of the family, as others around the time were centered around the oldest child. The working title for the show was initially called The Ben Savage Project.
That sounds like a artsy-fartsy band from the 90s.
It does.
It was invented by the noted Cambridge physicist, Dr. Parsons. Therefore, we shall call it the Alan Parsons Project.
Oh my God.
And it should go to note that for anybody that lived under a rock and didn't know this, Ben Savage is the younger brother to Fred Savage, who was on The Wonder Years, very popular show also, and he was I think the middle child in that show as well.
He had an older brother and an older
he was the
sister.
youngest.
Younger sibling or not? Okay, I couldn't remember.
It was
It's been a
two
long time
brothers.
since I've watched Wonder Years, so just and throw that out there in case somebody wanted to know. So.
And he does make an appearance, but we'll get to that later.
He does.
The plot originally focused on a kid living next door to his principal, but later it evolved into a kid and his friends learning life lessons from his teacher, his friends, and the family. Originally, writer's older brother Shiloh, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, was considered to play the role of Eric. Writer Strong, of course. Mr. Feeny was based on a mentor of co-creator Michael Jacobs. Originally, William Daniels was against the role and threatened to quit, claiming he didn't want the role of Mr. Feeny as a parody of teachers. So Jacobs rewrote the role for the pilot overnight at his request, which was a smart decision. And I'm really glad William Daniels had...
The show wouldn't be the same without
amazing character.
Yeah, definitely a highlight of any TV series, in my opinion. Originally, Topanga wasn't meant to be Corey's love interest, but due to their on-screen chemistry, they expanded her role as a main character by season 2 of the show.
Yeah.
Also a very smart decision. Conversely, Corey's intelligent rival Stuart Minkus was phased out after season 1 with a brief return for season 5's high school graduation finale. He was a popular character, but the writers didn't know how to work him into future episode scenarios now that Corey and Sean and Topanga's chemistry as on-screen friends was solidifying. And I will say that actor, Stuart Minkus, he was
I think his name is Lee Norris.
Yes. He was the only one that got back to me about doing the series, about being a guest in this episode. He very respectfully declined, and I believe he said because he's got a lot of projects going on at the moment, but thanked me for inviting him and wished us the best of luck. So just wanted to...
At least we got that.
Yes. So thank you for that at the very least. Hopefully sometime in the future. I highly doubt he'll hear this, but if you do, thank you. Jeff Sherman, a writer producer of the show, felt the need to incorporate serious life issues such as vandalism, child abuse, sexual harassment, underage drug/alcohol use, death, and even cults to address the darker sides of adolescence needing to be addressed, regardless of the show's comedic nature. This decision aligns with the trend of many kids shows, especially in the early 90s, having some mix of heartfelt charm and life lessons mixed in to enrich and attract young viewers along with their families, which I think was a stellar decision because it is those episodes that have really stuck with kids and learned a lot through these episodes. Because not everybody had the same life stories and life experiences that these shows were able to portray on screen. And the last little bit we have for very, very brief history of Boy Meets World, the inclusion of Sean and Angela's interracial relationship was received positively by the majority teen demographic during the show's original run, despite being a rarity at the time. We've seen this before between Weeds and Mary Beth in Are You Afraid of the Dark, Super Specs episode, along with Pete and Katie in Midnight Madness. So...
That's how you know I wrote the notes, because I snuck the dark reference in there.
But it is true. There's so few occasions whenever you would see interracial relationships and it not be played up like a big thing. It's just they liked each other, and that was it. That's all you really needed, and that was really refreshing. It's still refreshing because it's still a topic that gets brought up on occasion.
Definitely. I mean, I'm in one right now, and I can't say that. Are You Afraid of the Dark and Boy Meets World had at least some influence on that, or at least inspiration.
Well, since we ended on an Are You Afraid of the Dark tie-in, Brad, give us some of the ties to Nickelodeon with Boy Meets World.
Of course, yeah. And after combing through all these episodes, I was surprised just how many they were. I thought there was only going to be like maybe one or two, or the Nickelodeon magazine was going to be the only tie. Turns out there's a lot more here if you look a little bit closer.
Yep.
So what I ended up finding out are the following little tidbits that you might want to go back and see for yourself. So starting off, this was praised as an identifiable show for kids with a spotlight on Ben Savage back in the September 1995 issue of Nickelodeon magazine, which features a yellow cover and Ben jumping for joy. I did have that cover, that issue actually, but I can't show it here because I gave it away as part of the 1,000 giveaway. So Mick, since you now are in possession of that, I hope you enjoy it very much.
Well, I've got a screenshot of it, so it will be up there.
Okay, awesome. Here's another fun one for all you Salute Your Shorts fans, and you're going to hear a few Salute Your Shorts references in this list. So starting off with Blake Soper / Blake Sennett, who's Pinsky from Salute Your Shorts. He actually appeared for 16 episodes in seasons 2, 3, and 5 as Joey the Rat, aka Joseph Epstein, one of Harvey Keiner's lackeys. Yep. So you'll definitely see him around in those seasons as he's constantly standing opposite of Ethan Suplee as well. Originally, Michael Bauer was considered for the role of Frankie Stechino, but was later passed on for Ethan Suplee, speaking of which, due to his already involvement with Nickelodeon and not wanting to mix Nick and Disney kids together. So that's interesting, but oops, you already did it. Yeah. Why didn't you just go whole ham with it? I mean, you're still doing it with all these some production decisions. I don't know how they come up with those conclusions.
Yeah. Disney always felt like it didn't want to mix ever. Whereas
it did.
Whereas Nickelodeon, at first they were trying to establish their own property, but by the mid-90s they were like, yeah, kids love all this stuff, bring it all in, which is a really smart decision on Nickelodeon's part. But anyway, more to that.
Yeah, I think it set the trend for the type of kids who watch these shows want to be, because they're more relatable and less like polished as what some people consider Disney kids to be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I'm not quite done yet with Salute Your Shorts references, because apparently Heidi Lucas made a cameo appearance as Kim in one episode where she played one of Eric's dates in season 2. See if you can find that one. I'm sure if Alex can find the episode name, he'll pull it up with a screenshot right here.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Going into Space Cases territory, we actually have Rebecca Herbst, who played Susie on Space Cases season 2, played Jill in one episode of Boy Meets World. Coincidentally, both roles occurred during season 2 of each respective show, so I'm sure that was going on around the time when she needed work. We also have Natanya Ross, who we know as Robin Russo from Alex Mack. Also, Robin's name from Double Dare, go figure, plays Corey's nerdy date in a season 2 episode where they go to the dance.
As in she gets the makeover?
Yes, that one. Mm-hmm. Also from Alex Mack, we have Larissa Olenek, who plays Dana Pruitt in 3 episodes, which I noted were season 3, episode 15, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, season 3, episode 16, Stormy Weather, and season 5, episode 15, First Girlfriends Club. And not to be left out in the dust, Melissa Joan Hart, who plays Clarissa from Clarissa Explains It All, and also plays Sabrina the Teenage Witch as a TGIF cross promotion, also made an appearance in season 5, episode 5, The Witches of Pembroke, which I believe is a Halloween episode.
Yep,
it is.
I do want to mention, because I have an eye for this, I swear, the exact same yellow helmet models seen in season 1 of Legends of the Hidden Temple are seen in the skydiving scene of season 5, episode 12's Raging Corey, when Eric, Corey, and Dad all go out skydiving, and I could tell because it's like the same shape and the ridges on the side covering the ears. Other helmets don't have that if it's not the right Legends helmet. So.
I want us to have deep philosophical conversations. No!
Yeah, I love that so much. Season 5 really hit a groove with the episodes. Alexandra 80, who actually played Linda in Pete and Pete's Splashdown episode, also plays Audrey in the library scene of season 6, episode 9's Poetic Justice. And of course, finally, I rounded this out with a really good one, which I'm going to try and find a clip of for the credits of this episode because I love it so much. The season 4, episode 9 episode quiz show which features a question about Rocco and Doug answered correctly by Corey during their dumbed-down revamp of the high school trivia game show on public access. And I made a personal note that I screamed with glee when I first watched this, because I'm like, I would have done the same thing if I was in his shoes.
Ren's the dog, Snippy's the cat, Rocco's a wallaby.
And for the bonus points, Honkerburger.
Is correct for 3 million points in the game.
And there is a couple other Nickelodeon tie-ins as well.
Really?
Back in 2000, when the series was ending, they being Nickelodeon had their big birthday bash, and they had a lot of celebrity cameos who would wish Nickelodeon happy birthday, and Danielle Fishel and Ben Savage together wished Nickelodeon a happy birthday, which I thought was pretty cool, which of course we'll put a clip here.
Happy birthday, Nickelodeon!
And also on the very short-lived U2U TV,
I was just going to ask about that.
they had fans submit questions that went to Ben Savage, and he answered them through video. So that was pretty cool.
U2U connects kids to kids all over the world. And today we connect you to the boy who meets the world every week.
In Boy Meets World, Ben Savage doesn't always have the answers for his tests. And he certainly doesn't have any answers for Topanga.
But in Celebrity Online, he has all the answers to your questions.
Hi, Ben. Do you play practical jokes in real life?
I don't know. Do I play practical? You know, I think every kid in his life plays a lot of practical jokes, but I don't do that many. You know, my occasional few practical jokes, but nothing big.
Hi, Ben. I get really great grades in school. Do you?
I get, you know, B's, a few A's, you know, basically B's and B's.
Hi, Ben. Do you wish you had powers like Topanga?
Topanga's got some pretty cool powers. I guess, yeah, on a test, I'd want some of her powers, because she can, like, contact great math people. You know, like Euclid. There's a good one. She contacts like great math people like Euclid, and she gets great answers for tests. So I wish I had her powers on tests.
Hey, I play video games. What do you like to do for fun?
For fun, I guess I like to play tennis. I like to play basketball. I like to watch TV. Oh, and I love to eat.
Ben, I was wondering, now that you're on TV, can you buy anything you want?
Can I buy anything? I can't buy anything I want because I don't have any money. See, a lot of kids think you have a lot of money, but it goes into a bank account. So when you act, you get money, but it goes into a bank account for when you're older. When you're like 21 or 18, then you get it. But for now, just a normal kid.
Somehow I don't think Ben is hurting for an allowance.
And I'm sure that Corey and Topanga were at least nominated for something in Kids' Choice Awards at any given point in the 90s.
We like to bring out two savages. Two savages, okay. Ben Savage from Boy Meets World. And from the Flintstones movie, Rosie O'Donnell.
Hi guys. Well, thanks, Whitney. I am a savage. It's true. Betty Rubble is a savage. And Benny boy, you're the cutest guy I've ever seen. I'm gonna pinch your cheek like that weird aunt does that lives in the basement. I swear I'm gonna pinch your cheek, Benny.
All right, but if you do, we're gonna have you do that Betty Rubble giggle. I mean, I'm sure you won't mind doing that for the 8 millionth time.
Well, for you, Ben, all right.
Thank you.
To present the next award, here's Tia and Tamara Mowry, your 1995 Kids' Choice Award TV Actors winners, and helping them out is Riley Strong from Boy Meets World.
do the triplet thing now.
Definitely.
He just needs a little makeup and to lose 30 pounds. And those hairs on his legs gotta come off.
Well, it's been fun, but poof, you're twins again.
All right, so let's hear it for the super pirate Larissa Olenek from the secret world of Alex Mack and Ben Savage and Ryder Strong for Boy Meets World.
Hey, Ben, what's that?
Well, it seems Larissa's morphed herself into water for tonight's show.
Larissa! We are going to present the award for favorite movie.
I'm gonna put you on the podium.
Why are you guys talking to my water glass?
I wasn't talking to it, Ben was.
Me talking about water guys? Come on, get real.
Here to present the blimp for favorite female athlete are the stars of Boy Meets World, Ben Savage and Danielle Fishel.
All right, guys, back off. Guys, I was on the mini golf pro circuit, so watch out, okay?
All right, but we're playing the Kids' Choice now, so hurry up and putt.
What? Shush. I'm trying to get jiggy with it here. Hold on.
Let's check out the nominees. Okay, for real. How does helping make you feel?
Happy.
Glad.
Good.
Proud.
Like I'm not just another face in the crowd.
Important.
Powerful. Lucky.
Great. Like I could put more than my own weight. Helping makes you feel good deep down to your soul.
In control.
Part of a greater whole. When you help with your friends, it's totally fun.
You feel good looking back on the stuff that you've done.
Helping makes you feel
Strong.
connected,
Like I count.
effective.
Helping makes me feel warm inside.
You feel better about yourself because you try.
The opposite of selfish.
Total pride.
Helping's all right.
It's not boring like some things can be.
It's like I carry it around inside of me.
But hey, everyone's different.
How will it make you feel?
You gotta see for yourself to know for real.
Good. Really, really good.
But I think that's all the other tie-ins that I can think of for Nickelodeon. Obviously, we do have Eric, who was played by I can't think of his name right now. Who is
Will Friedle?
Thank you. He was in what episode, Brett?
The Tale of the Long Ago Locket from Are You Afraid of the Dark, season 4, episode, I think 3. It depends. The production order is a little wonky, but he was definitely in that episode as the main character kid who had to stop the Redcoats from another era, from stealing his girlfriend and helping that spy.
He also did some work on Don't Just Sit There in the 80s for Nickelodeon.
Welcome back, and we're here with Weird Al Yankovic and our surprise visitor, Michael Richards.
Oh, when'd you get here? My heart.
Thanks for stopping by.
Just got in from outer space.
But the series as a whole for Boy Meets World, it ended being canceled due to waning ratings with each subsequent season, and by 2000, ABC was losing their target demographic, mostly because they were growing up.
Yeah.
And then that's why they started resyndicating it over in Fox, which was Fox Family, and then they switched to what was the next thing?
ABC Family.
Yeah, they switched to ABC
Family.
Family.
Now it's Freeform, but I think it's been aired on Freeform.
And then they aired on Nickelodeon, not Nickelodeon, Disney for a time, and we'll talk about some of the things that Disney did with the episodes when we get to the controversy portion, but. Then Girl Meets World hit the scene, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts on this, Brett, because I think your opinion is going to be slightly different than Megan and I, but
probably.
But Girl Meets World reboot. It premiered on June 27th, 2014. Were you excited about the Girl Meets World?
Ecstatic. Mainly because I thought, first of all, if you're going to do a reboot or a spin-off from a show, you have to have some of the original cast members.
Yeah, otherwise it won't
question,
hold a candle.
Yeah, I was like, are they going to have them back? And the first thing that was said was that Ben Savage and Danielle Fishel had said that they were coming back. So I was like, yes, okay. I mean, that's a start, and then it's like, who all can they get from the original show to come back? And I think, with the exception of one main cast member, they got everybody from the previous show.
I wonder why.
Oh, hey,
We'll get to
we'll
that.
talk about that later.
Yes. But go.
I mean, you can't beat that. That's just pretty awesome.
So she was excited, and I was excited. Two adults were excited about a kids show on Disney Channel. It was the most recent show that came out for kids that we have been actively excited to watch.
Same.
But it came out June 27th, 2014, ran for 3 seasons, 72 episodes, until its final episode in January 20th, 2017. It was created for modern generation with a different perspective, which is to be expected. It was developed in November 2012 and was greenlit for production in June 17th, 2013 for Disney Channel, as opposed to TGIF, because that's not a thing anymore, unfortunately. The show continues where Boy Meets World had left off, but it was focusing on Corey and Topanga's daughter, Riley, and her friend Maya, as they navigate the challenges of adolescence in the mid-late 2010s. Some life lessons, such as gratitude, bullying, and respect, are incorporated into the episode plots, oftentimes driven home by returning Boy Meets World cast alumni, which we really appreciated. Halloween and Christmas specials make a return, with a horror anthology series occurring once a season as Girl Meets World of Terror 1, 2, and 3, respectively. It was canceled since the series characters aged out of their target demographic, according to Wikipedia.
It's because Disney has a 3 to 5 season rule, and they cut them off regardless. Because they've done that to a lot of their shows.
Almost all their shows.
And you can't tell me that ratings were bad, because they weren't. They were great. I mean,
they
were actually
sure
trying to get it. They had a petition going to try to save it, to get it on Netflix or another streaming service, and it didn't unfortunately pan out. But fans tried really hard.
We do have an episode where Eric shows up again to mediate a fight between Riley and Maya, and Sean shows up for Christmas along with Corey's younger brother and his parents.
Gee, Cor, thought you'd be more excited to see me. I told you he was real.
Well, before we go into, because when we get to talking about quotes and favorite moments and episodes, notable things, we'll be on Boy Meets World for a while. So while we're on the topic of Girl Meets World, I'm going to start with Brett, because you'll probably have the more hot take out of the three of us. What did you think of Girl Meets World from would you say it was the first season and a few?
Yeah, I've seen the first season and a couple of episodes from season 2. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish in time because season 2 is 30 episodes long. I didn't know how much I wanted to commit by that point for this. But I met it with some resistance. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of an old geezer, get off my lawn kind of person when it comes to shows made after 2010. I don't know if that's just me being part hipster or not, but I was like, oh, this is not as good as the original, but I gave it a few episodes, watched it with my wife, of course, and once I let my prejudgments kind of fall to the wayside, I enjoyed it. It obviously doesn't have the same feeling as the 90s one. Obviously, you can't replicate that in another era. It doesn't matter how hard you try. But it comes pretty darn close with the way they handled the cast of characters, with Riley and Maya still going through similar situations like Corey and Sean did. I like how Corey kind of takes the Feeny teacher mentor role in his own little way. Although I think Feeny has more of an astute presence, whereas Corey has a more down-to-earth approach, which I appreciate. I actually like Farkle, who's Minkus's son / replacement, even though he doesn't have the goofy glasses and quite as he's not quite as nerdy, but he's more like a modern cool nerdy that blends in more, that has a little sense of style. But I appreciate his character. He's a lot of fun, and I think a lot of nerdy kids can relate to him.
I want to point out about Fargo real quick that you probably hadn't got to, but they actually do an episode with him where he talks about him having autism. He realizes he has that.
I think I did see that one.
Autism, right?
He had Asperger's.
Asperger's.
Yeah.
Autism, but
because Harvey Keiner's character person, that guy, he came back as a janitor and had a discussion with him out because I think he was hiding in his janitor's closet for being picked on for that.
Yeah. Anyway, continue. But yeah, I thought I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I like. I mean, aside from the fact that I can't skip the intro fully on Disney Plus because it like continues 10 seconds afterwards, which, it's typical overly polished, perfect Disney-esque type intro. It's fine, whatever. I enjoy the heart of the content here. I enjoyed their relationship. I think in a strange way, Riley and Maya emulate Corey and Sean really, really well for being female. I don't really feel as connection to the school as a whole, like outside of the main cast of characters, but that's okay. Same with was it like a deli place that Topanga bought, which is serving as their local hangout. I think that's fine, but it doesn't quite feel as like relatable as the hangout. I think it's called Chubby's in Boy Meets World. Yeah. It's good overall. I got a few chuckles out of the Halloween special and how Augie was like narrating it like it was a Twilight Zone anthology, especially with the monster in the bed that kind of looked like him. And I'm looking forward to see more of the series and finishing it. I'm not ashamed to say that.
Season 2 and 3 have some really great. I mean, Alex and I had to stop because we were laughing so hard. And it is because of original cast members.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
it makes it so worth it.
I mean, we chuckled quite a few times at the new cast, but the chemistry for the old cast is still still there, and it made us belly laugh. But I'll get to that in a minute. What are your thoughts of Girl Meets World?
I would have loved to have seen more. I actually would have loved to have seen what Riley would have become graduating, and Maya. I would have liked to. The biggest thing for me was, would Maya and Josh have gotten together, because there was chemistry between them. He obviously had feelings for her, but because she was younger than him, and yes, because technically he was 18 and she was only 15, he had, and I'm like, thank you, boundaries, yes.
Yeah.
But the chemistry is there, and in season 3 they actually go back to the lodge that they went to in the episode with Corey and the other girl. Nice. And that they kind of sort out some feelings between, there's a love triangle that develops between Maya and Riley and the really cute kid. I can't think of his name. It's like that was Riley's boyfriend. But I cannot think of his name.
Boy.
No.
No, it wasn't Boy.
I'll think of it.
Her?
That's what she always goes, her? Yeah. But I would have loved to have seen what more would have developed. I don't really want to. I hate to spoil some stuff for you, but because you're still watching it. But Sean.
Okay, I'll do it for the sake of the podcast.
Huge things happened for Sean in the show, and I would have liked to have seen what would have happened with him and his
beautiful good things for Sean.
His other half that he gets in this season and this show, and I won't say who because I'll let you get to that when you get to see who it is. But I would have loved to have just seen, there were some good things developing, and it was really starting to take off. It was kind of like when Boy Meets World hit in like season 3, it was really taking off. Well, this is what it was doing. This was doing the exact same thing. They had just hit high school.
They were really getting their stride going.
It was getting stride, and then Disney went, sorry, and smacked them out of the way.
That happens.
Oh, it's such a shame, because I really think they could have done some good stuff, done the serious topics. That's why people and the fans were hoping to get it to like another streaming device, because then they really could have kind of pushed a little bit more with the
some of the more
serious
stuff,
content,
right?
Because Disney had to be Disney. So
And a criticism that I've heard a lot is either the new cast was just okay, or there was an over-reliance on the original cast, which took away from the old cast. And those are the two criticisms I've heard the most. And I disagree, because I really feel like you had to have that strong reliance of the original cast, because this really was a show for parents and children.
Yeah.
Because Boy Meets World was for kids that grew up with the time, and now this was a show that was two complete different age demographics, but they're able to meet on the same ground, and which really gave a very rare opportunity for kids and adults to be able to watch something together and be able to engage in conversation on an intellectual level for both parties.
Yeah.
And I really respect the show for that.
Yeah.
And also it served as an interest for kids to go back and watch Boy Meets World now that they get to see some of these little
New
clips of
generations experiencing that show now, so it just repeats and carries on the tradition.
But I absolutely loved Girl Meets World, not as much as Boy Meets World, obviously. There is no
writing wise, Boy Meets World is much better.
Yes.
That's where I would say, because I don't think it's anything on the cast.
No.
I felt like the cast was perfect. It was well casted, and I feel like they did a great job with what they had. But I think it was just because you had Disney writers compared to when you had TGIF writers. So
yeah,
but
it's a huge contrast.
They had almost, like Megan said, almost every major player from the previous series came onto this show. We even had Plays with Squirrels make another appearance, which was really great. Angela came back for at least one episode. But there were about two. I can't even talk about it. There were two instances that just, obviously, you see how it affects me. But there was one where they were trying to get Sean to leave his little cabin out in the middle of the mountains to come back. Because there was some really, like we had said, there was some big developments, but Sean didn't want to. And he had been commenting about how he doesn't feel the same way he used to. He doesn't feel like himself. And he's trying to really isolate what this is. Why am I acting like this? I mean, there's a box of sugar cookies on the table. I don't even like sugar cookies. Butter cookies. And then I've got all these clothes. These aren't even my clothes. Who do I look like? And then Corey enters the room.
Well, I came all this way. And thank you for that. And now there's this. Sean! Relax! Yes? You destroyed me! How so? You turned me into you. That's crazy. No, that's not crazy. This is crazy! Oh, butter cookies.
Yeah, I would break for food too if I was in his situation.
My God, I don't like these things.
But it might have been the same episode. Because
is this Girl Meets World?
Yes, this is Girl Meets World. Because there was also one where it wasn't the same episode. Corey shows up in a frenzy. Sean shows up in a frenzy because Corey had told him there was an emergency, and so he burst into the room, freaking out that somebody was hurt.
Sean, he's fine. Everybody's fine.
No, he's not fine. He called me over here, said it was a matter of life or death. He's not fine. I had to make sure you'd come. Nobody bye-bye. Everybody whoop-de-woo.
And that takes me down every single time. Because that was pure Sean and Corey that we hadn't really got to see very much of. But oh my gosh, it gets me every time. We had to stop because it was on DVR. We had to pause it because I couldn't catch my breath for the longest time after that. But I will say, for anyone who because this is for our main timeline, so I am going to give a bit of a disclaimer, because there are probably some who don't know and are wondering. So if you don't want to hear adult content for a moment, don't worry, I'm not going to say anything inappropriate, but kind of the content is. You feel free to skip ahead about 30 seconds. But about the only cast member who does not make an appearance in the show is the actress who played Rachel.
Yeah.
And Brett knows where I'm going with this. I had started to look for all contact information to reach out to people, and then I saw in order to contact her, I had to contact another little agency, and I was like, this doesn't sound very family friendly. She is now in adult entertainment. We'll place it. She
says it's very liberating.
She wrote a book about how being in this particular industry has been more liberating for her than being in Hollywood. So she's very content where she is right now.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
There's probably why she's not been on Girl Meets World, and probably won't be on the podcast as well. Not ours, but the podcast that they are doing. So we're going to leave that alone now, and we're going to step away from Girl Meets World now. We've talked about that enough because we want to get back to Boy Meets World territory. There were quite a few controversies, since we're on the subject of a little risque things. Brett, do you want to address the controversy topic?
I'll do my best. I don't know much about most of these. I just noted them while I watched it.
Megan can fill you in.
I mean, this is one that stuck out me from the get-go because she was so gosh darn cute, and then she turned into my cousin Kate all of a sudden when she got replaced. What the heck happened to Morgan's actress and her being changed out?
I think I read that I think she didn't want to act anymore, if I'm not mistaken. It's on IMDb because I talk about it, but I could have sworn that she didn't want to continue on. Like, she chose to leave. And then they replaced her with the girl from Tower of Terror. Because she is in Tower of Terror, by the way.
It's a shame because I thought she was so cute and sassy, like the Olsen twins in season 1.
I mean, although when she's eating that cereal and all she's eating is the sugar pieces, and she goes, "I've been up since 6 o'clock.
I've been up since 6 o'clock."
Yeah,
it's like that would be Jensen when he gets on at the dog.
That's me now.
He's gonna be yeah.
That was me the other day. Whenever he kept waking up coughing, I've been up since 3 o'clock.
Yeah. So I think that the main reason, I believe I think she was wanting to depart from the show, and I don't think she did any more acting after that, or did a lot. But she did come back for the like the final 2 episodes of Girl Meets World. They actually brought in both actresses who played Morgan. So
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that was awesome. I thought that was.
I didn't see her for the Christmas special when I saw Sean come back. And I was disappointed. Like, you got to have the whole family there, not 9/10 of it.
Yeah, but she does. She does come back in toward the finale of the series. So
I do want to address the continuity errors with Topanga's parents, because she has like 3 different actors.
Yeah,
and one of them looks like John Ritter.
I was like, I don't know why they did that. I don't know if it was just timing, schedule conflicts is probably what I would have had to have guessed.
No, I can address that for you.
Please do.
Oh, did you look it up?
No, just because I'm an intelligent person, I can tell what they were doing. No, because whenever they were first doing the series, Topanga was very much the, how can I say this and not sound like a complete jerk? They were trying to have her be more alternative, more of the hipster, the
hippie life,
New Age.
So her parents needed to reflect that. So they looked and behaved more like that, and one of them is a celebrity guest who we'll get to in a bit.
Yes, I was about to say, are you going to tell who the dad was?
But then later, as the season progressed, could you imagine whenever it got to the divorce, those two being the two to get a divorce? As much of the hipster as they went for the first season, by the later seasons, she really lost a lot of that particular identity where she still had that inclusive nature, but far less extreme with the hipster type. So the parents had to reflect that as well.
I do like how they made a nod to it real quick in Girl Meets World, where she was like looking at herself in the mirror, and we saw her with the crimped hair like season 1. It was a fun callback.
That was.
And also, I think another part of it may have been they weren't able to get the celebrity guests that they had last time, but also I think it was more just do we want to try to reach out to this again, or do we really need to go with this more current vibe that we're doing with these characters? I think that was probably more to the other side, but
that makes sense. But this next bit, I'm sure we're all dying to know. What happened to Eric? Was there something in the water he was drinking that turned him into a complete moron each season? Because he started out like a normal older brother who would give decent advice, but it's like each season you can just see the slow decline of him just getting more erratic and just I don't even know how to explain it. He's just the comic relief bumbling buffoon, and although I do find some sort of weird satisfaction when he shouts, "Feeny!"
How could you not be here? Mr. Feeny? Mr. Feeny! Mr. Feeny? Mr. Feeny? Mr. Feeny! Mr. Feeny! Oh, come admit you love the Feeny call. Now, I have a feeling we're not going to be together that much longer, so you've got to admit it before it's too late. Mr. Feeny! Dude! Feeny! Feeny! Ooh, that was a new one. Feeny, you here. Sit now. Feeny. I said, Feeny! Come on, George Feeny. Don't act like you don't know me. Feeny! Eric! Feeny? Feeny's in love. With who? Feeny? Feeny? Ow! Hey, what? What? Hey! Ow!
I love the Feeny call.
Feeny! Oh, I can't do it anymore. Dude, let's go.
Hey, whoa.
Okay, let's go.
I do like that they do some episodes though, like where he is actually very smart if he tries and works hard.
Yeah.
Because he is, and he has his heart is so pure, and I like that they talk about that in several in later episodes, like that. Matt Lawrence's character, I'm brain farting.
Jake.
It's
the roommate guy.
Yeah, it's Sean's brother, but half brother. But anyway, they did that episode where he was working in the shop there in the college, and he gives that money away, and they talk about how he is. I mean, how much heart he has. He cares about people, and that's his strength. That is his strength. So I'm glad that they tried to.
Jack,
that's it.
I knew it was a J word.
Yeah.
You were close.
So, but yeah, he did get going. He thought niche was niece,
I thought, hey, Mr. Feeny, I found my niece.
There she is in Girl Meets World.
They say, Alan, we don't want to talk about his FUTURE right now. Oh, don't worry, Mom. You don't need to worry about my furniture.
Yeah. A lot of good moments. Good looking guy as well. I finally understood where that reference was after we did the James Bond episode after all this time.
Check it out.
When a crime breaks out, the cute girls shout, get the good-looking guy. Good-looking guy. When there's a crime out there, he's gonna comb his hair, 'cause he's the good-looking guy.
Well, if anyone else wants to chime in podcast land or on YouTube about Eric's theory on being dumbed down, definitely let us know in the comments somehow, because we want to hear from you, especially the Boy Meets World diehards who love fabricating theories and timelines and all this crazy stuff about it. We're just humble fans entering a very, very intense fandom here, so please enlighten us. I guess we're going to talk about Fred Savage's episode because it is a little bit controversial. So I'll let Megan take the stage with this one.
So Ben's brother Fred gets to guest star in an episode as a college professor. He's a very cool, hip. Everyone likes him. He wants him to call him by his first name. You don't have to call him Mr. Professor this or Mr. this. He's like one of them. He relates to them. He's cool. Everyone loves him. Well, he starts to develop a thing for Topanga, and he oversteps his boundaries as a professor and tries to make a move on her.
I'm sitting here with you, for example, right?
Yeah.
I'm your teacher, and I find you attractive. But we're talking about the assignment. Now, have we crossed a line?
I don't think so, no.
I'm your teacher, and I think you're attractive. And now we're not talking about the paper. Have we crossed the line?
Corey, when he confronts him about it, tells him, he pretty much tells Corey that there ain't anything he can do to stop him from whatever he's going to go after. He's going to go after her. And as a typical boyfriend, I feel like would do, and especially like Alex would probably do it too. He hit him and he knocked him out, and I totally had mad respect for him. I was like, well, good, he deserved it.
He went full Will Smith.
And but yeah, it was stop it. He was not Chris Rock.
That was a greatest night in the history of television.
But yes, we have to go to in front of the board and the dean of the college to talk about it, and hopefully Corey doesn't get expelled from college for hitting a professor. But I'm glad they resolved it, and because that is something we have seen happen in reality, that teachers have overstepped their boundaries with students and done inappropriate things, and that was
speaking from experience, because even though I've not thankfully had an opportunity, well, not an opportunity, but haven't done anything inappropriate with children, because I love kids and I don't ever want to be even remotely put into that kind of a situation where it could even be interpreted that could happen. You've got to be very smart with that kind of thing, because people are twisted and they will look for something. But even just being an adult male who teaches children, and especially in church, I get a lot of looks, and I have been told by several parents, after they've gotten to really know me and hear the things that I've been teaching and see the relationship I have with their children, then they would come to me and tell me, when I first saw you, I wasn't too sure if I wanted my kids to be taught by you. And I was thinking, there's no way this guy can love my kid this much and there'd be something inappropriate, or no, there's got to be something going on. But after I've been here for this many months and really seen how I can't imagine anyone teaching my kid now except you. And that really means a lot to me, but it's also very frustrating that because this happens so often in society, that now whenever they see just me teaching kids, that's the first thought they go to. And innocent, guilty until proven innocent. And that's so incredibly frustrating. But I can't say that it's not warranted. But I do love the fact that this show really takes that subject and it doesn't go too far, because it could have gone really, really far with that, but it just enough
to make you feel uncomfortable.
Corey should have handled it differently. And of course, Fred Savage's teacher shouldn't have even done that at all. And I really love what the dean said about
This is a teacher, Stuart. I'm not sure what you are.
Funny because I think they're married in real life, and they do get together in the later seasons.
Yep.
A little bit of serendipity going on there.
And it's kind of funny. Well, not really funny. It isn't funny, but it's strange that he played this character in this episode, because I know recently there's been some controversy with Fred Savage and things that happened on the set of the revamped Wonder Years.
I didn't realize they were rebooting it.
They did.
Yeah, it's currently
and
running.
I think he's directing, or he wrote it, directed, because he does a lot of directing now. And there was some accusations and stuff made. I don't know if they're true. You never know, but
it's Hollywood. You never know.
You know, unfortunately, it's affected him. So I don't know what's become of it lately, because I haven't heard any more. But there was some things in the media about that. So
You were you gotta say you were nicer as a kid.
I don't know, but all around it was a great episode, and I love that they, especially what it drove home at the end of it, you know, about what it means to be a good teacher.
And just understanding boundaries with people in certain roles of power too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Well, moving on from that, I want to talk a little bit about Mr. Turner's disappearance, because he was a character that many people have come to beloved for the season 2, season 5, somewhere around that area, where it started to feel more like a high school with Boy Meets World. I do remember he was in a hospital after a bike accident, and being very touched and moved and very sad for him, because I didn't know if he was going to just die then and there. But they don't really address what happened to him after that, whether he lived or went on or what. So if anyone has any answers on that, let us know.
I don't remember what they said happened. They actually mention him in season 6, like he's down the hall. So he's still there teaching. So they mention it, I think, in one of the first couple episodes when they become seniors, they move into a different hallway of the high school, because it's like a new set.
Right.
And I think there was mention in the first episode, down the hall in Mr. Turner's class. So there was mention that he was there. So that I knew that he lived. And then of course he does come back in Girl Meets World.
I was about to say.
He does.
I'm looking forward to that. I didn't get there yet.
So yes, so there you go. So we do get to see him and what he's been up to. And
I think they even make a joke about, where have you been?
Yeah.
Even better.
And just the whole moment was made with him and Sean reuniting in Girl Meets World.
I'm really glad they treat that relationship with respect, because I appreciate Mr. Turner taking Sean under his wing when he's going through a real rough patch, especially with his parents not being there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That whole episode was a very huge, another very teaching moment, because it was dealing with Sean being involved in a cult, and that they are very much real and still around. And what, that whole moment there, and that was the first time too that we really saw him actually pray a little bit. He prayed, to God to save him, to save, Mr. Turner. So,
and one of his most vulnerable moments too. We've never really seen Sean get that vulnerable.
Yeah, that was a big moment and very heartfelt. So, and pretty much saved him.
This one bugged me out of probably all the controversies that I managed to find throughout the series, even though it was brief. But you remember that time when Harvey Keiner's actor was replaced by another actor that looked nothing like him, but they tried to pass it off like it wasn't even a big deal for one episode, but it stuck out like such a sore thumb. What was going on there?
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Okay, so Harvey Keiner, apparently the character was sent away to some kind of military reform thing. So then this other character, and I can't think of his character name right now, but he was very suave and smooth. Came in as like the filler Harvey character.
Oh.
Yeah, and that I guess, I don't know what happened. I don't know if the actor was not going to be available for a little bit, so they needed to fill that character role in, and then Harvey does come back, I think later on. He does end up coming back. So, but yeah, completely nothing like Harvey, but he was the cool kid, but he could just snap his finger and everything just ran into place for him. So
yeah, he did have a certain greaser charm to him that reminded me of like John Travolta's character in Grease.
Yeah. So, but they did bring him back, and of course we did see Harvey come back in Girl Meets World as well. So it was good to see him back, and the same actor who played him. So,
and then of course Corey and Topanga's marriage we talked about a bit, because I don't think it's often, if ever, you see like such a young couple get married on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big deal at the time. Like they even showed the whole wedding and everything, and them trying to elope and do like a shotgun wedding, but that didn't work out. And inviting all the audience members there as if they were part of it. It was a very, very impactful series of episodes, because it just makes you think about the course of your life too, if you've ever gotten married. Now that controversy's out of the way, let's talk about some celebrity cameos that we spotted on the way. Starting off with Vader the wrestler. I honestly didn't know he was a real wrestler until I looked it up after watching this show. But yeah, he's known for his role. And please help me out. I don't know anything about wrestling.
I know nothing about wrestling, but your family.
I guess he was.
Your family was big into wrestling.
It wasn't WWE yet, I don't think. I don't remember what they used to call it, but
WCW, WWF.
There was WCW, WWF, yes. But yeah, he was
TRASH.
He was huge wrestler. My dad remembers him very much. I think I mentioned him to Dad, and he always did that. Ho, ho.
Yeah. Even to Feeny when he like came in his suit.
Put the Matthews boy down.
Come over here and say that.
Sit him down now.
Feeny, you can't tell me what to do anymore. I'm not one of your punk students. I'm the face of death.
It was scarier when you had acne.
I love it.
Yeah. Having him as Joyce Takino's father seemed very fitting somehow, in a strange way. And I really liked the episode where. Sorry, Frankie. Sorry, I'm getting Joey the Rat and Frankie Stakino mashed into one person in my mind, because they're always together. But yeah, I think their dynamic is very suitable together, the Stakinos, and I really appreciate the episode where Frankie actually goes to see his father fight in the ring and be there to support him, and then afterwards, Corey and Topanga have a very lovely dance on the ring together.
WWE was what he was on.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there was the one with where they had the wrestling match, and when Corey was on the wrestling team or something. That episode, I think that was the first episode he appeared, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, when they're doing like wrestling tryouts in the school gym, I remember that, because he had to face him as an opponent, and he was totally petrified.
There was a lot of huge celebrity guests in that episode alone. Yasmin Bleeth was in it from Baywatch. Very, beautiful woman. I haven't got to her season yet on Baywatch. I've been
She's been rewatching Baywatch.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, check this out. Baywatch is on.
It actually.
Do you know what I found today? I was going through old 90s Nickelodeon commercials, and I found Barbie Baywatch.
Really?
Yes.
Baywatch Barbie looks out to sea. A dolphin's in trouble. I'll set her free. She dives right in. Barbie. Then Baywatch Barbie rescues him. Dolphin's so happy to be off the rocks. You're a great lifeguard. Now they're always together, best friends forever. I love you too.
Baywatch Barbie doll and her dolphin do not move by themselves, but you can make the dolphin talk. Friend doll's not included.
I mean, capitalizing on the trend, why not put 2 and 2 together? Does she run in slow motion? Does she have slow motion?
No, but she has a dolphin friend that you can make talk.
Is it Flipper?
It might
That's
as
the
well
only
be.
dolphin friend I want.
Then the category. Oh, what a surprise! The lifeguards of Baywatch. I haven't.
Pamela Anderson plays sexy lifeguard C.J. Parker.
Sexy lifeguard C.J. Parker is correct.
Well, celebrity cameos going along with the wrestling ones. Actually, Mankind shows up from WWF.
Yep.
You know, in his complete getup. I don't remember what episode he was in, but he was totally in his wrestler character when he was interacting with the characters. Maybe
later season, right?
Yeah, maybe in the college.
Yeah,
ones.
they were in college. So it was season 6 when he appeared. Because yeah, I remember him with the sock.
Yes, yeah.
Mr. Socko.
That's like his finishing move.
Yep.
Couple of others worth mentioning are Elaine's boss, Mr. Peterman from Seinfeld, who's played by Cal Kilbright. He was the weatherman when Eric went to go intern as a weatherman. Jason Marsden, of course, which was Eric Matthews' like sidekick friend for a while. I believe he did the voice of Max Goof in a Goofy movie.
Yes. Yes.
Among many other roles, I'm sure you know for. Oh, this one stuck out to me a lot too because he's also the voice of Ernie Potts, the construction wrecking ball guy on Hey Arnold. Is Dom Irrera. I also know him as a stand-up comic in the '90s and made frequent guest appearances on Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist. He was the hairdressing guy when Corey wanted to get his hair cut and wasn't sure about his look, and he helped make it real fancy. And also, I think he cut Topanga's hair in that episode too.
That was a big episode.
And
a lot of celebrities I can name off that we
go for it.
There are 3 that I knew very quickly once they showed up, because I, as a kid, and still am, a big fan of the Monkees, which Brett and I had talked about previously as a guest for 90s Noise podcast. But 3 of the 4 band members made a guest appearance on Boy Meets World.
The former band with Alan.
Yes.
Peter Tork was one of them. That was Topanga's father, the hippie father.
Yep.
Davy Jones made an appearance, and Mickey Dolenz, the only member. Yes. The only one that didn't make an appearance was Mike Nesmith.
Yeah.
But he still was doing a lot of stuff at the time. I don't know why he didn't do Boy Meets World, but they had 3 of the 4. Any ones that you can think of that we haven't?
Candace Cameron Bure was in an episode where she was like a dark witch, which is strange because she's a very big, strong conservative Christian. Like,
well, now she probably wasn't then.
Well, no, she
and same with Melissa Joan Hart too.
And Melissa Joan Hart too. But they were in the same episode actually.
Yep.
So that was fun. Another Full House alum. Which is strange because, and also funny because Topanga, Danielle Fishel, guest starred on Full House as well. So,
some crossover.
Around the same time frame. They did the episode where Corey went back in time in like the 50s, and they had like some of the cast from Happy Days on there.
Tom Bosley was there.
Yes, I was like, oh yeah, and they had some of the actors from The Love Boat were on as well. So some great cameos especially from older TV. It was good to see some of those on there.
Since we were mentioning some more interesting episodes of the series while we were talking about cameos, we might as well just mention what are some of our personal favorite moments of the series. Could be from episodes or just certain characters interacting or anything that sticks out in your head.
Friends don't let friends miss a moment of TGIF. Stay here. We'll be right back.
He'll be riding in from Bluffington with 4 lone hairs and underwears outside his jeans. He's aiming for new territory. He's Doug Funny, right on the money. Doug Funny the Kid, a Nicktoon, a buckaroo. His posse's all brand new. New friends, new foes, new trouble. Sunday at 10, 9 Central. He'll be blazing new trails at the place where kids prevail.
Right here where I belong.
On Nick.
We may have had a retrospective already, but there is still plenty more to talk about concerning the cult show Space Cases. We are joined by Space Cases and Splat Attack fan Catherine Jersey and Davenport herself, Carrie Lawrence, to review every episode of the first season of Space Cases. You will only find this episode on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/SplatAttack to get access to this episode, as well as a backlog of our exclusive episodes, live streams, and more. While you're here, please take the time to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If you are listening on a podcast app, please leave us a review. These simple acts on your part help others to find our content who miss the old school Nick days. Thank you all for your support, and I will see you aboard the Krista. Okay, there are so many good moments, so many, but some of the bullet points that I'm just gonna ramble off real fast because I don't want to do a whole bunch of them or go into detail. But the one that's making me laugh the most is the episode where they were having Eric was trying to constantly scare or attack Topanga for beating him in the wrestling match. And
mankind in the episode.
And he was talking to Angela's father and was talking about Topanga over there, but didn't want to say her name, so he goes,
I learned that when a girl beats you up, and I'm not going to use any names, Opangate.
Was that the same episode where he was like hiding in the couch with the dramatic music?
Yes.
It is 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're crushing Eric. I'm only asking because it's 3.
How did you know?
I so nailed it.
I would have gotten you if it wasn't for... them.
Let's take it from that line. Which line? Well, we can do line by line?
Crushing Eric.
You gotta get off me.
Obviously, the James Bond thing is going to be big for me. But I also really loved in the first season whenever they were talking about how Dad does how does Dad do all this?
I don't know how he does it.
Who?
Dad. 12-hour days. Never sits. Eats his lunch standing up. Never takes a break. It's like he's not human. It's like he's something.
It's like he's Superman.
Huh?
Superman's my dad.
I absolutely loved that. I also really loved how we saw the mom break down how she was not ready for her kids to get married. They're too young, they're not married, and then changed her tone and said, I'm not ready. I really loved that.
Yeah, that was powerful.
I did really want to yell at our wedding.
Get him, Topanga!
But obviously I didn't.
Now, okay?
Yes. And I also loved the poetry corner and everything, all of Corey's horrible poems, and them singing karaoke.
I was going to bring up karaoke. That's one of my favorites.
And there's plenty others, but
Such a
those little
love song between us. War.
So many other great moments, but I'll digress and move on.
Brad, I want to go to you first because I feel like I'd have more to say. So,
yeah, I mean, I got a lot of moments. I might as well just blend these with my notable episodes because they're pretty much one and the same. Out of all of them, this one always comes to my mind first, probably because I'm not on a honeymoon yet, but we're working on it, is the honeymoon episode where they they go to like paradise and they imagine themselves being there forever, and Corey's making like celebrity coconuts for a living.
Yeah.
It's just something so goofy and hackneyed that I could imagine myself doing the same if I was in his shoes. I really like the Thanksgiving episode with Sean and Corey's family coming together for the first time, kind of like getting rid of the class divide that's going on there between the have and the have-nots, at least trying to make it work. That went a long way for me because I've had some friends who grew up in poverty as a kid and remind me of some moments when I would go over their houses and just share dinner with them. Obviously, there's some of the more heavy-hearted ones like Mr. Turner ending up in a hospital and Sean joining cult and Sean's dad passing away. Those were all very touching moments that really get real from the show. Hair Today, Goon Tomorrow's the one with the good-looking guy gag and also Dom Irera in it. So that's the name of it. That was from season 4, episode 2. Yes, the Singled Out crossover where Eric tries to find a girl on the show. I'm like, wow.
I used to love that show.
Yeah, I used to watch that with my Uncle Phil when he babysat me because he was just like all day, every day MTV, and I was just a little ignorant kid. And I'm like, what's this show about? It was a real blast from the past when I watched that. Of course, there's also the trivia contest, public access, that got revamped to be more public appeal instead of like a stingy high school bowl trivia thing. That was a lot of fun from season 4. Of course, how could I forget? This is one of Monica's favorites, so shout out to her. And then there was Sean from season 5, episode 17.
One of the best episodes.
Highest rated on IMDb, believe it or not. 9.4 out of 10. And it's with good
was my
reason.
other cameo, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, as Feffy.
Feffy.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on with Eric
Jennifer
Matthews
Love.
and Jennifer Love Hewitt, but man, he totally attacked her and made out with her like there was no tomorrow as soon as she got on screen.
Yep.
I just thought of another cameo. I can't think of her name. Hang on. Mission Impossible 3. Go ahead. I'll
okay.
start to get it.
Okay. It was uncharacteristically scary, and when I watched it first time, like, wow, this feels like it belongs in a Scream movie or something. Just the dramatic tone and the creepy janitor who you don't really know anything about too, which I heard from my wife that the actor was just like in for that one episode and then disappeared, so it adds a little more mystique to him. There's also the episode Starry Night from season 5, episode 20, where Topanga dates another guy and they meet at a Van Gogh exhibit as a means to get back at Corey for the infamous kiss at the ski lodge. And that one really stood out to me just because I'm a big Van Gogh fan, and it's nice to feature like art on TV and take it as like a serious medium for creativity. I like this one better than Average Corey, which is very similar to the Starry Night one because it also dealt with an art gallery and a child artist prodigy.
With the picture of the broccoli beside him on the wall.
Hey, you don't have a mediocre life. There's nothing about me that separates me from anybody else.
But I actually like that one because the child prodigy painter also mentioned that she loved playing Banjo-Kazooie, and that was my all-time favorite N64 game. So little nostalgia jolt there.
Carrie Russell. She was the other celebrity.
Carrie Russell. Gotcha. Also the girl who plays Velma, who's the girl at the ski lodge.
Yeah, Linda Cardellini.
I got to mention this one because it's one of my favorites. It's like a real highlight for Eric as his character is Santa's Little Helpers, season 6, episode 11. I just feel like his heart is bigger than his pea-sized brain here.
My cousin-in-law, whose heart is bigger than his brain. I appreciate that, Clark.
It broke my heart when he had to like interact with that little kid who wanted a family, and he couldn't adopt him even though he wanted to. Because I would do the same thing if I were in his shoes. He was just adorable, and he needed a lot of, love and compassion.
And an episode of Girl Meets World. You're gonna have to get there. You're gonna see a little something.
Can I help to cheer you from season 6, episode 18, which was a follow-up to the Christmas special where Eric tries to adopt little Tommy, so they kind of go hand in hand, both very sweet. And later on, I have 2 season 7 episodes to mention, which are The Honeymooners, where that's the honeymoon getaway one.
Yeah.
That I love a lot. And then, of course, Brave New World, which is the series finale. which is a two-parter, and it was really touching just to kind of see things come full circle and have them all in the classroom again with Feeny with his final words of wisdom to them, and it made me cry a bit. So
Yep, me
it's
too.
it's hard when you're that invested to like not feel like you're living in their world, but there it earned every bit of emotion out of me when I watched it through.
So some favorite episodes for you that has not already been addressed?
Well, a lot of my favorites have been addressed for sure.
We have great taste.
We do. We do.
The Halloween one, I think, might be her absolute favorite.
That's a lot of fun.
Hands down my favorite. And then right next to it is the episode where Eric is constantly trying to get back at Topanga and scare her. That
yes, it's great.
I beg you to seek help.
Oh, this is gonna be so sweet.
And I don't know the episode titles, but we got to throw out it's the first episode of season 3 where Corey is trying to ask out Topanga for the first time. That was a big moment. Their first time getting together as a couple. And of course the episode where he gives her his jean jacket. That's a memorable.
Is that a long walk to Pittsburgh? That two-parter?
As before that one.
Okay.
That was when that episode I wanted to bring up as well, because when she comes back and he opens that door and she's standing there in the rain, I think I was with the audience like screaming, yeah.
So if life doesn't want me and Topanga together, then you can't fight life, can you?
That's one of Monica's favorites too.
And I think you had mentioned this with your quotes and stuff about one of the quotes from that is Mr. Feeny talking about love, and then when you have it, you have to hold on to it and cherish it. And that's something, that what I really admire about is that you can have a long-lasting relationship even when you start out young. You can have true love then, and it can still grow and still continue. Alex and I have been together a long time, and we were together and we knew each other as kids. We grew up together as kids, and then we developed a very strong friendship, and then it developed into love, and that can happen. And far away love. But I really admired that the show did that, and that showed that is something that is possible. And I really like that quote that Mr. Feeny says in that episode.
It's a great quote.
I gotta say also, I really enjoyed the episode where Eric goes back to night school to get his graduation officially, and then he gets and the look in his dad's eye, and when because he's tearful, and he tells him he's so proud of him. That just really got to me. I absolutely love I'm blanking on his real name, but the actor who played the dad. I absolutely adore him. I think he was a fantastic TV dad.
Yeah.
And just I admire him so much for all the episodes he's in.
Very underrated TV dad.
I will say that I think it's the second to last episode of the series, but when Angela leaves, that was hard. That was a hard episode too, to see her go. And another episode in season 7 was when they were all fighting and mad at each other, and then they have that, and that's where we get Crazy Eric's plays with squirrels in a flashback to the future.
There's a cross between Grizzly Adams and Jesus there.
Yeah.
And the lollipop is just ridiculous.
Okay, well, what is your name now? My name is Plays with Squirrels. Read this.
What is this?
It's me manifesto. All of us hermits have one.
Oh man, but yeah, there so many great. I mean, the hair episode where Topanga cuts her hair was such a big episode. Obviously, the breakup episode with Corey and Topanga, huge episode, was very. I mean, it tears at your heartstrings. Big episode there too. So, but I mean, every episode has its moments, and it's just so good. And there's not a bad episode, but and you mentioned a lot of my grades, so
Quick shout out to season 1 because we haven't really mentioned that season a lot. Is when they do the mini golf tournament thing, and they have like the tournament in the backyard, side yard at the end. I thought that was very cute,
very clever. And I have to give it to the episode too, where the kids have to read the Diary of Anne Frank, and they talk about racism and things, and that still happens today because Eric's girlfriend got called ugly names because she's Asian, and at the mall, and and it really got Corey because he had to become the teacher for the week. That was the episode. He was Mr. Feeny for the week, and Mr. Feeny got to be the student, and to show that he could if he could teach the class as well as Mr. Feeny. So and that was a good episode. I really liked that one.
There were several, much like both of you, there were so many that I like, but I'm going to talk about the ones that are easily buried. But one of them, speaking as a father and as a teacher, I really appreciate the episode where Corey's dad let him stay up to watch the baseball game, and then he failed a test, and then there was a lot of the parent-teacher confrontation between the two of them about what's best for Corey. I really appreciated that episode. And I also really like it's later in the series, but they were watching Mr. Feeny set a table for a date, and then she didn't show. And I
remember that standing up.
I really like that one. That one hits pretty good. I also I liked Angela's dad when he showed up. Everything with it. Plus, I just love him. He is passed now.
Yeah.
But he was actually, and I actually told Brett about this before, but there's this awful yet awesome 80s kick flick called The Last Dragon, and he was the main villain for that movie.
Yes.
And he is everything in that movie.
Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Am I the prettiest?
Sure enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this town?
Sure enough.
Well, who am I?
Sure enough.
Who am I?
Sure enough.
I can't hear you.
Sure enough.
Shogun of Harlem. You are a disgrace to this university, to this country, and humanity in general.
Wow.
Drop and give me 20.
Fine. Dude, you better pay me back.
I love the episode where they were dealing with alcoholism and peed on the cop car, and how this was Corey's decision, but yet the dad was blaming Eric.
No, Sean.
The dad was blaming Sean unjustly. And I really love the fact, again, great TV dad. I love the fact that once he realized he was wrong, he apologized.
Forget it. No. I was worried about my kid, and I said some things that I shouldn't have.
It's okay.
It is not okay. And I apologize.
Yeah.
I really have. I love that dad. I top tier dad. Because again, me being a father, it really frustrates me to see dads often treated as jokes on sitcoms. So to see when there's a really good dad out there that's been put out for kids to see, I swing for him. But the other one episode I really liked the most, and probably the one that stands out to me the most, and it might be the last two episodes, I don't remember, but it was when Corey needed mom and dad's help now that they were in that beaten down apartment, and mom was that. Yeah, I knew it was last season. I didn't know if it was.
So no, it was right at the kind of the beginning after they had gotten married.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one where they like renovate it and paint it and make it their own?
Yeah.
That was very touching.
And they wanted their help. Can you help us? And they said, no, we're not helping you. And then he got angry, and they took it upon themselves. We're going to do this on our own. And then he fixed the water, and then brought it back to mom and dad and to show them, look what I did. And then that's when they were going, that's what you need to do. I really loved that episode. And you could tell after they had left, Corey and Topanga had left, how it was killing mom. Can we please do something? No, they've got to learn to do this on their own. And that is a hard lesson for both parents and for kids, especially young adults. But so many great episodes, but those are ones that easily get overlooked through the huge library of great episodes.
Yeah, all very heartfelt ones with a valuable lesson.
Yeah,
great choices. Quick shout out to Sean, Corey, and Topanga turning Feeny's house into like a bed and breakfast while he was away. Because I literally thought about that as you were talking about him, and just seeing how well of a job they did while he was gone. It seemed like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
I also really appreciated the episode where Eric was going to go into theater.
Yeah.
And I also really appreciated the episode in season 1 where Corey was talking about how he wanted to be a professional baseball player. And then celebrity cameo, but I can't think of his name, but they had the baseball player. But the baseball player who showed up and said, if it wasn't for education, I wouldn't have been a baseball player. And I thought that was a great message for kids.
Another quick shout out, since you mentioned play, to the Shakespeare play in season 1 where Minkus was the lead role of Romeo and Juliet, and everyone's just like flopping all over the place, and he gets pushed over by Topanga because he's stepping on her, and Corey just learns to enjoy being like a guard on the side, and then the other guy who's also a guard gets motivated to like take the states hostage. And I really like 90s episodes that somehow take a play and make it their own, and it seems like there's way more of them than I initially thought after watching so many shows for this podcast. I just remember this one as well. How did we forget the gender swapping one where Corey and Sean dressed as girls to learn what it feels like to be sexually harassed?
Yes, like I think it's called like Girl Like Me, or
something
like
to that extent.
Episode. Or Ben, he made it an ugly woman.
Sean was pretty good.
Sean did. He made a pretty girl, yeah. How you doing, honey?
How you doing, honey? I'm Cora. I'll be your waitress this evening.
I come in here a lot, and I've never seen you before.
Quit hitting on me.
He talks like he's a chain smoker.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of episodes, I have to give it out because it is your background. The episode where Sean's in the very serious relationship with that tall tennis player girl, and she won't let him see Corey, and they have that moment in the library that you'd swear they were a couple.
They're talking through the books.
Like, that you made that sweet bun was for me, wasn't it?
That Cinnabon was for me, wasn't it? Corey.
Now, what was it they said where he goes, that would be Sean? What was that moment?
Oh, because she says, go talk to the person you love. And he goes, that would be Sean. Oh, that is the episode where they think Topanga's pregnant, but she's trying to lose weight. And again, that also is one of my favorite laughable moments when we get into quotes and stuff, because it's one of the best moments. For me, I like lost it with Eric. But yeah, that's the episode because she won't talk to him. He thinks she won't talk to him about it, and he's trying to talk to his parents and going, what I did? And she's like, well, you need to go talk to the person you love, and he goes,
that would be Sean.
And I was like,
twist.
Yeah. What he would do.
Yep.
Just like at the wedding when they're sitting there.
I have to talk to her now, okay? Go ahead. Okay.
Well, while you're two smoozing over there about your love life, let's talk about quotable quotes and Feenyisms because we're running low on time.
Yes.
I have a few here. Feel free to add your own, but these are the ones that stood out to me along the way. Life's tough. Get a helmet, which I think Eric first said and was repeated by his father.
Yep.
Very, very handy for life's rough edges at times. I agree. Friendship is a real gift. It's given with no expectations and no gratitude is needed between real friends. From Mr. Feeny, of course. To me, a real hero is someone who does the right thing when the right thing is not the easy thing to do. And boy, do I feel that all the time.
Yeah.
Also from Mr. Feeny. If you let people's perception of you dictate your behavior, you will never grow as a person. Very true. People change people. No matter what I teach you in here, learning from the people you care about is more important than the words on any page, which is actually Corey in Girl Meets World. And that was a moment where he's like, all right, you're the new Feeny now. Another one is, I believe that when you find love, you hold on to it and cherish it because there's nothing finer and it may never come again. Of course, we know that from our first bonus episode on Patreon when we talked about A Long Walk to Pittsburgh as Mr. Feeny's speech to Corey and Topanga at the side yard. And then, of course, one of the last things he says in the series is, believe in yourselves, dream, try, do good.
You mean do
Don't
well?
you mean do well? No.
No, do good. Good in the world.
When she hugs him and tells him that he has been more of a father to her than her own, that's where I lost it.
Tell us you love us.
Is that a quote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the end of the
That's
episode.
Eric, he said that.
Tell us you love us. I will not. Tell us you love us. And he won't. Then finally, when they're all gone, the
He
series
says,
ends with,
I love you all. Last dismissed.
Aw.
It's so great.
all of yours, I mean, they're beautiful. And
They
and
want you to take the roles. That's mine and my friend Hannah's favorite quote. When they see themselves in the future as older, Corey and Sean as older guys. What?
Yes.
Or Angela, I'm the screamer girl.
Yes, girl, I am the screamer around here.
Yeah.
Well, always remember he was this tall.
Yes, with the pencil through the head. Oh my God, they killed Kenny. I heard Will Friedle's actually a big South Park fan, which made that joke all the sweeter.
Yeah. Because he kind of does the sometimes he kind of does the like.
Yeah, he does the Cartman stammer.
Yeah.
The entire good-looking guy theme song.
And when his dad takes the cereal, thank you, Daddy.
Yeah, get out, find a job. Thank you, Daddy.
Thank you, Daddy.
Unemployed Eric is the best Eric.
You're in a relationship. You're in a triangle, or he says you're in a triangle. He does a square. Rachel.
Yeah, that was an interesting dynamic. Him, Jack, and Rachel, in that.
Yeah.
It's not so much of a quote, but I do love the moment when Jack and Eric had resolved their difference about Rachel, and they embrace each other in the room, and then she says something about needing something in the shower, and then he knocks the other one out.
Yes.
Dude, don't know if this is the right time to say it. I love you, man. Dude, don't even, man. I'm the one that loves you. Dude, come on.
Oh, boys, you know what? I can't figure out how to work the stopper in the bathtub. Can one of you please come show me?
But I also, again, Truman Show episode. I forgot about that one. That was a great episode too. But
and the episodes when they're trying to be all prim and proper for Rachel, and they have the food fight with the.
Yep. Oh man, that was a really messy food fight from what I remember.
Yeah.
Well, I think I think class is going to be out in a few minutes. So before we do our segment, any final thoughts from any of you about Boy Meets World and the legacy it left behind for its fans?
Ladies first.
Oh, me first. I hate to be on the spot.
On the spot, go.
For me, it's just a coming of age story for me. It's a go-to show to just that you can. There's so many relatable moments that you can put to a real life situation, and I just enjoy the laughs, the heartwarming moments with it. I hate that it didn't go longer. To me, it's become such a cult classic now that I could see it going as long as like Grey's Anatomy's going still, or Supernatural went 15 seasons. Can you imagine what would they have gone that long? I don't think we've seen a sitcom go that long. I mean, the longest has been Roseanne had a good long running. I mean, it's those things. They leave a legacy, and it's become just such a cult classic now. And I still watch it to this day, and I'm getting Sam to has watched some episodes of it, so I'm hoping he'll get into it as well. So
I wish that I had seen the show more when I was a kid. I wish I had a circle of friends who was into the show, because I never got into it. And I would make it required viewing for kids now. Hell, I'd even make it for young adults and high school students. They just don't make shows like this anymore. Yes, the first couple seasons is very hokey and cheesy, but they really hit the emotion button and did some great work with it. Was able to really intermingle comedy, but not conflict with the serious tone whenever those opportunities presented themselves. And even though it's 90s, it's all the points about relationships and friends and teachers and parents, it's still relevant today. Yes, the family scene is very different now. There's all kinds of different variations of families, because this was pretty much the staple of what families were in the 90s. You still have these relationships regardless, and there is a reason the show has become so beloved by people who grew up in the 90s and are passing it on to their kids. And it had the spin-off series, and it'd be just as successful. We need more shows like this.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly agree. We need something with values, something that's relatable, and something that people can really learn from to apply to their own lives, because I feel like that's the best kind of television that stands the test of time, is something that we can connect with and also learn from at the same time, not something that bludgeons us with a million jokes. I mean, a few jokes here and there are great, but if you mix them in with some more dramatic moments and some more moments that hit home, then you got a well-rounded show that can't encapsulate life even better. And I think this is one of those sitcoms that you can come back to no matter when you watch it, or even get into it like me, and still take away something valuable from repeated viewings, even if you've seen the whole series. So I applaud it for what it was able to accomplish in the time that it did. I'm sad that it didn't go longer, but I'm thankful for what they gave us and all the fans to just live off of and pass down values to future generations with.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to leave the Matthews residence for the time being. So let's go to the Trivia Bowl at John Quincy Middle School and play a game of This or That. This or that, this or that, time to play This or That. So for This or That, it's pretty much simple, but also a lot of fun. Tell us which you prefer, or both, and why. And starting with the first one, we're going to go with the Hunters or the Matthews. Which family do you prefer?
The Matthews.
Feeny!
The Matthews.
Feeny!
They stuck
The
together.
Matthews.
They stuck together. They were there.
I do not want to be in the Hunters family. I love you, Sean. No.
Yeah.
Maybe Jack too, but yeah.
And Jack too. Yes. Yes.
The Matthews are a beacon of love and life lessons. So
Yeah.
agreed. Number 2, Angela or Topanga? Which leading female do you prefer?
I love Topanga, but I do love Angela too. Angela was a great, another good side female character to give with Danielle Fishel, and she handled the role very well. And she was actually much older than the original cast members, because I think she was like 30 when they
Wow.
were
Doesn't look it.
No, she looks fantastic. Yeah.
Everyone who I know would say Topanga, and even I would say Topanga, but just for this round of This or That, I am going to say Angela, because she is a very underrated character within the whole scope of the show. And she was a very complicated character, and she loved with her whole being, and was just as conflicted as what Topanga was, only she had less time to be able to express all of her things. And I loved the relationship between her and Sean. It was gorgeous. Topanga normally, but I'm changing my mind for this one.
Okay. Megan, what'd you say again?
Topanga.
Topanga. I'm actually going to go with Angela as well. I really liked how she was introduced to the series. I like her relationship and how it takes some interesting twists and turns with Sean and how it really tests his ability to be, his character, to bring out the best in him. And I know Corey and Topanga do that a lot, but they're more like comic relief with the way they have relationship friction, for lack of a better word. I do love how their relationship grows. They have been with each other pretty much their whole life, but I just like the how different Angela and Sean feel on screen, and how it fights to remain on the show as an item.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Number 3, Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Christmas special?
Halloween. That's my best episode. That's my favorite.
Thanksgiving episodes usually just aren't my bag. Typically, if you put the 3 together, so no Thanksgiving. Christmas, I love Christmas. It is my absolute favorite season, but it's the Halloween. That was masterful done.
They had some great Christmas episodes.
They did have some great Christmas episodes.
I'm going to go with a split between Halloween and Christmas because I like both equally and they're both very touching.
Yeah.
And Boy Meets World had a couple of Halloween episodes, so I want to include all of them and not just, and then there was Sean as the spooky one.
Yeah.
Number 4, early Morgan or later Morgan?
Early. I've been up since 6 o'clock. That does it right there.
They're both equally good in my opinion, because I really liked the sarcasm that the later Morgan brought as she would pick on I'm Corey, I'm 16, I'm going to drive-in movie. Ooh.
Was that when she was like in the little like Power Wheels? Oh, I love that moment.
And there was a good episode with her when she was 13 and she was going on her first date and she was coming down in some shorty shorts and
those are hot pants.
Those are hot pants. I was like, oh, good old dad.
I remember when that was a controversy in school in real life.
So I'm gonna choose later Morgan.
Okay. I mean, they're both pretty good from what I remember.
I love both. So I was like,
yeah.
What about you, Ben?
But I'm gonna go with early Morgan. I'm gonna go with early Morgan because she's just so darn cute and sassy. How can I not love that? Number 5, Feeny as a teacher, a principal, or a professor?
Definitely a teacher.
I was gonna say teacher as well.
Teacher, yeah.
You can never go wrong with Feeny, period.
I feel like we could have added neighbor as well in that.
I mean, if you want to do for this or that icons, Alex, you're more than welcome to.
I was
That'd be a first.
You did come out and give some lessons in the backyard, so that was good too. But I would still fall that under teacher as a teacher moment too. So I'm gonna say teacher.
Yeah, that's unanimous.
Yeah, teacher as well for me. 6, Eric Matthews or Jack Hunter?
That's both Eric. I mean, how can you not pick Eric? But Jack is just pretty to look at. I love Matt.
Did you see him shirtless in that one episode?
Yes, she did.
Not enough. And he got super muscular. Well, I grew up loving, like, watching the Lawrence brothers. I used to love their show Brotherly Love on Disney. And I watched everything that they did. So
yeah.
Jack was a great addition, but Eric, especially later Eric.
Yeah.
Dumb Eric is the best Eric.
Yeah. Even if it is controversial, he is highly entertaining. Eric, all across the board for us.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7, Corey as a kid or Corey as an adult?
Corey to me got even funnier as he got older, and he's still even funny as an adult. As a dad now on Girl Meets World, he got even funnier on there too. Even though he could be having his serious moments, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Corey as an adult. I really grew to enjoy watching him become a dad, and and especially in Girl Meets World, I really enjoyed seeing him in this role. Whereas when he started, he was the kid. So I'm gonna go with Corey as an adult.
Yeah, me too. I liked I liked college age Corey. I liked him more with each season. Teenage Corey was fine. It was a little too cliched with the love trope. But that was
senior year. That's when he really his comedy like went way above.
And I liked how he would stand up for his girl, how he trusted his girl, even except for that one episode, underpants.
That's a great quote.
But especially Girl Meets World Corey. I loved how he was as a father, as a teacher, and still just as awesome a friend as he was in the show. Hands down, adult Corey.
I'm gonna go with that as well. I'm just gonna keep it short and simple. I think he does get better over time. He was really goofy in the earlier ones, but I like his blend of comedy with life lessons in the later ones and Girl Meets World as well. So, number 8, Frankie or Joey the Rat?
I love Frankie.
Feeny!
He was a pure heart behind the muscle, because he had such a soft heart, and just some of the things he would say, and he would just say everything with ease, and like the Godfather in a way. But it was just I
softer
love the character of Frankie. I was like, I wish he would have stuck around for the whole series, but he was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I agree with Frankie. He had a more interesting dynamic and character development than Joey the Rat.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Frankie as well. I find his demeanor very charming, and he reminds me a lot of his character Randy from My Name is Earl, which was in the mid-2000s. Number 9, doing homework or slacking off?
Come on, bookworm.
No, slacking off. I slack off as a parent, too. I'm like, I don't feel like taking care of the kids. Your turn.
So it depends on what time you would ask me, because as a kid I would say slacking off. As a teenager I would say doing homework, because I would do my homework in school. I'd be doing it during my lunch break, so that way I could slack off when I get home and I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
that's the strategy I would take too, whenever possible. Get it done early so you can have all the time to play PlayStation.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with doing homework for the sake of slacking off after. I guess that's both.
Exactly.
Yeah. And our final this or that choice. Do you prefer Minkus or Farkle? Or should I say Stewart or Farkle?
Farkle Minkus.
Of the Minkuses. The Mink-Eye.
I'm gonna probably go with Farkle, because I feel like he was able to get more development for his character because he had more screen time, whereas we only got Minkus for the first season. And
plus some cameos.
Cameo in season 5 when they graduate. But he also does come back in the Girl Meets World series as well, so we get to see father and son together, which I thought was great. But
Did you catch that line in one of the season 1 or 2 episodes where he's like, Minkus reproduced? Oh no,
yes.
He probably was cloned in a lab or something. It made me really stop and think for a moment, like, what did happen?
Yeah. Reproduced, yeah. And that's hard because Minkus and Sean had some fun moments in season 1 together. The way they would rip off each other. So
yeah, I actually thought that episode where they're like pitching in to get Mr. Feeny a gift, I guess for the holidays, was pretty touching, and how Corey covered for Sean because he couldn't like afford it due to his dad getting laid off.
I didn't really care for Minkus on season 1, just because he was more he was written to be annoying, so that way he would annoy the main characters. There were moments of you got to see behind the facade of just being the annoying dweeb, but for the most part, that was his role. But Farkle was not written that way. He was written to be a bit of an oddball, but he really connected with all the main characters and became part of the main cast and had so much more to do. It was such a much more likable character, so definitely Farkle for me.
And Farkle for me as well. I think I'm way more approachable and less grating from a stereotypical standpoint. And maybe that's just a sign of the times where like that stuff is just more blended in like societal norms, or it maybe it's just how the character was developed more deeply. But I find Farkle more endearing than Stewart, who can kind of be a little bit over the top with his nerdiness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's it for This or That. And we're going to just jump right into our closing question because we're ready to head on home. So, Slimesters, let us know, what profound lessons did you learn from watching Boy Meets World or Girl Meets World growing up? Write to us via email at splatattack2021@gmail.com. DM us on Instagram at splatattackpodcast. Or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Splat Attack Podcast. And just interact with us wherever you find us on social media. We're really close to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so even if you're not subscribed and tuned to our videos, definitely take a few seconds to hit that subscribe button, because that'll really help us grow our podcast in ways you cannot imagine, including like setting up a store, setting up like donations and thanks, and other tools that we can get from YouTube Studio to really help us, take it to the next level of our production. We also do have a Patreon that we're working hard to expand so that we can make this our full-time job, honoring 90s nostalgia. So if you truly believe in the content we're making and want to see us go a little bit farther for you guys, definitely head on over to our Patreon page and sign up to become a Gackoid today. We have various tiers available, from basically casual fan to super fan. It's all affordable, all tons of great content, including bonus episodes, bloopers, and more. So definitely check that out. You don't want to miss it. We also do sell shirts at our Bonfire store as well. That's back up and running. We got some shirts of all 4 seasons of our logos. We got Team Gackoid, Team Slimester, and hopefully we'll get a few other designs on there at some point when we get a break from editing. But you can definitely grab a shirt for yourself and your friends who love our podcast at bonfire.com/store/SplatAttackStore. Head there today. Thank you, Megan, so much for joining us for this Boy Meets World retrospective. We're so thankful to have your insight and fun experiences to share along with us, who are, Alex and I are newbies to the series, let's face it. Is there anything you'd like to plug before we go?
Be sure to check out my mini episodes of me revisiting some 90s commercials.
When this episode comes out, she will have had an episode just last week where we talked about 90s music. Not my favorite category, but definitely one of Megan's favorites. So this was about her.
90s music has a big impact on me. So yes, that was a great choice. Thank you.
You're welcome. That. I knew you'd like that.
I've really enjoyed doing these, and I hope you guys want me to come back and do more, because I've actually really enjoyed them, and I'd love to do more commercials because it does bring back a lot of nostalgia, and that's what this is about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a lot of fun watching your Meg Reacts with my wife. So for anyone who's really into those topics or just wants a girl perspective on our podcast, they're a great way to, get to know us a little bit better. And you're doing great work.
Yep.
Tune in next time, Slimesters, when we head out of suburban Philly and into the 4-Leaf Clover Mall to try on some jumbo-sized basketball shoes with Doug in our episode review of Doug's Cool Shoes. This was a fan-requested episode from our Slimester Matt Gordon, who will be joining us to take a trip down memory lane for this fun episode. So you don't want to miss it when we meet Sky Davis in person. If you're lucky, maybe he'll even autograph our shoes too. Until then, Alex, will you drain the slime tank for us, please? I've got to convince Sean that he's not a bad friend with Corey.
Aye, co-captain. While you're visiting them, tell Eric to come back inside before he talks Mr. Feeny's ears off. Mother's orders.
Will do, best buddy. Splat you later, Slimesters. Hey, Corey, wait up! Feeny! 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 Woo, woo, woo! Feeny!
Reprise the theme song and roll the credits.
I reckon it's time for me to go. I'm glad that's over. Now for a peaceful night's sleep.
Well, that does it for now.
Yeah, we gotta catch a train.
Since I'm going home, you can't my arts and crafts project. It's a tweezer holder.
All right, guys. Let's go fly.
How long have we been away?
See you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Honey, if my dolly is cold, can I put her in the toaster oven?
No, honey, that would be a mistake.
Mommy,
What?
I made a mistake.
Ren's the dog, Snippy's the cat, Rocco's a wallaby, and for the bonus points, Honkerbird.
Is correct for 3 million points in the game.